decided to shoot one out of my little photo station here. Yeah, as far as the eBay business goes and the side job and your main job and all that goes, you can make your job work for you. So like, you got to work the job anyway. You may as well get some additional benefits onto it besides what you're doing. So like, the one I chose, it's an automotive reseller, automotive parts reseller. So I take that gives me my current 40. I'm moving a lot of weight throughout the day. So it's a heavily physical job, walking and such, which is good. But then I also arranged it so that I could use their UPS thing, so that I get that high priority shipping. They get their own truck, so I'm able to put my own stuff on their truck, and that's good because the workplace is like 30 miles away, but the closest UPS store to me is like 25 miles. So I'm driving that either way. I might as well use their thing versus if I just doing this by myself, I'd have to drive a 50-mile round trip and pretty much lose all that. I'm sure I could justify it some other way, but you know, using the workplace for that. And of course, I'm getting all these boxes on top of that. So I'm getting the physical aspect of it. By doing that, I'm forcing myself to go to the gym for 40 hours a week. I know it doesn't look like it, but you know, going to the gym for 40 hours a week, staying highly active, and staying in that grunt role so that I can actually do that gym instead of up in the offices or a supervisor where I'd be a lot less active. But I'm getting the benefits of that job besides just that little paycheck on the side. On the side job, you know, my little business on the side, I'm able, because it's an eBay business and because I'm working out of my home, I'm able to get all the tax benefits. And like the first 3 years, all I'm doing is building this thing. So instead of just going out and getting a crazy loan to buy crazy equipment and cross my fingers, I'm going ahead and building this, you know, make some money, take some money out, leave enough for shipping and everything else, but basically put the money back into the business to build it up, to build those expenses, and not expenses, to build those, build that equipment up. And then once I have enough equipment, I can actually start going from growing to making some, just throwing out all the profit into that. It's got good profit margins. I'm staying in those profit margins, but it's important to actually get that without getting a massive loan out the gate. But yeah, you just get all that equipment and such, and that way you're not doing that. Working for a reseller as my main, I'm actually learning that. If you wanted to, like, I don't want to open a restaurant, but if you wanted to open like your own bar and grill, you're not going to just go out and, you might be the best cook in the world, but if you don't know how to run a bar and grill, you're not probably going to survive. It's better to go out, work for somebody as a bar and grill, and learn the backroom processes. Learn all those that you can. Let them pay for all that while they give you a little bit on the side, and maybe you're building your thing on the side. But actually having that in-person experience is going to save you a lot of headaches, a lot of hand-on experience with somebody else's mistakes. And then that way when you can get out the gate, you got all that experience. You know, I need to do this. Here's the possible suppliers I can use for this. Can I still use this? What's good in this area? You already have that all figured out before you open up your door and you make those mistakes. You're letting them make those mistakes. The place I work for has a horrible inventory system. They just do. It's absolutely horrible. I don't even want to think about how much they're losing due to inventory errors. But it's not my concern because I'm a grunt. My concern is in what I do and my setup, you know, and I can take that and learn from that, and also learn what works shipping wise and what works otherwise. But I could take that experience. So like you could throw this into your whatever the heck you're doing, and figure out how can I make this work for me. And if this isn't working towards your goal, maybe I got to move from here over to here to get into something that's more focused for my goals. Uh, Most of my jobs have been physical, and the reason is that physical thing ends up adding up later in life. You know, if you're working a physical job, you're probably going to be more healthy in the long run, and you know that leads to less bills and less overall headaches. So I mean, but it's all about what you want to do. But that's why I'm working for the reseller, and then I'm building the business on the side. And that's what I'm doing here. Is I don't want to get out the gate with a 6-digit loan to get all the equipment that I need to get to my goal. If I need to do a lot of little stuff over several years to get there and jump into step and step and step and step to get to the top of the staircase, I'm okay doing that. Even if the time is a sacrifice, instead of going out the gate and being like, I want to do this now, no questions about it. Do you know what you're doing? No. Are you going to make mistakes? Yes. Are those going to be costly mistakes? Yes. Would you rather start small, learn those costly mistakes when they don't cost as much? That's where I'm at. That's why the business has started with a lot of small stuff, a lot of stuff where if I break something, it's not the end of the world. Versus if I break something or something gets lost or I get a horrible return where I mess up. You know, if I mess up, I'm gonna claim it. So like I told you in a couple of videos back, I messed up a seat. That was like over $200 mistake, but it was what it was. I told the guy, I made the listing saying it was parts, but then I messaged the guy saying it was the track worked. The track turned out it did not lock when it arrived to him. I did not check that. I told him it worked. I slid it back and forth, but it did not lock. I did not check that it locked or not. That was my mistake. I ate that cost. Now, I ate all the shipping and I ate the total cost. I ate it all because that was my mistake. Now, if that was like a $2,000 semi-truck transmission, and I told them, yes, it goes for all the gears, it works perfect, and they got it there, and 2 of the gears don't work because I didn't check those gears. That's on me, and that would be a huge expense. So like of shipping and everything else, plus the time involved, tons of stuff. That would be a huge issue. So like, I'd rather make those small mistakes now than make those big mistakes. So if you're going to start a business, working for somebody else and learning those mistakes is going to get you, is going to let you see those mistakes on somebody else. And then that don't cost nothing. Actually, you're getting paid. So like you're getting paid to learn what mistakes they're making. And then when you actually start something similar, you can take those mistakes that they messed up, and you now know I'm going to make those mistakes. I'm going to do this instead of what this. Now, is it going to be exactly the same as scenarios what they ran into? Doubt it, but it's probably going to be something similar, and then you can learn from that instead of making that same mistake and encountering that same issue of, you know, this and this. How do you deal with this? You know, I dealt with that before here, and you can actually, like what I'm doing, I'm running this company out as long as I can because of the benefits that I get from the company. If that was to drop tomorrow, no big. I got 3 or 4 on the back burner that are similar companies, similar benefits, similar deals. Jump to that. But I'm making my job work for me. Okay? Sure, you get a paycheck. Sure, you get this and that. But that's like in the long term. I mean, you need the money, but that long term stuff, in the long run, the stuff you're gonna get instead of just work. If I just worked in an office, okay, if I just worked in like just shipping the items in like customer service, if I just was a salesperson, I would not learn as much on a phone as I could working in the warehouse. Because I mean, you're going to learn stuff there, but I can learn more in the warehouse, plus the physical aspect. You know, there's a lot you're trading, but you need to make your job work for you, or have your goal where if I'm doing this, I want to do this. It just works, because otherwise you're gonna be doing something. If I was programming all day, if I was programming all day, I wouldn't be learning anything towards the eBay business. It's great that you know how to program. It's great that you're killing those deadlines. Maybe also having a fixed schedule, because I'm only a grunt. Having a fixed schedule, I know I can do this for this amount of time, and I can do here. I can do my side business here. I don't need to worry about the office space deal. Well, you know, we need you to come in on Saturdays and Sundays, and you really should, you know, kind of deal. I don't have to worry about that. I know that at this amount of time, within maybe I'll stay a little bit over if it's needed. You know, that's how I am. But like, if it's needed, I'll stay over. But for the most part, I know I'm working 40, 45 hours tops at this main job, and that gives me time so that if I need to go to something on Saturday to pick up some supplies, I have that. I have that time block to use that towards this, you know. Versus, we need you to come in on Saturday, so and so called in, we need you to do this. If you want to do that, you can do that. But if you don't want to do that, you're not set into doing that without questions asked, without your job being on the line, because the deadline of this program that we need to kick out has moved up. So everybody in the office has to go to this, and you really don't have a choice. So like, it's all about what your goals are, but having your job so that you want your job to like give you more benefits than just that paycheck, because that paycheck's great and all. Maybe you're like me. I really should be working at a restaurant right now so that I can do this better, so that I can talk with customers and talk, you know, get more in-person talking, you know, get that out the gate and lose this deal I got going on. But this is the best I got right now, because I got this and this. But if I was looking for a third thing, yeah, I'd work in customer, or I'd work, and that's part of it, is I know I'm not, I know I wouldn't be great taking orders, but like, if I was, I could just go and be a server somewhere, and like be like, I'm gonna see 150 people tonight, I'm gonna get over this thing, one way or the other, you know. Sometimes you gotta jump into the pool, but like, you know, so like, if you want to benefit from that, so this has gone over way longer than I wanted it to, but yeah, I mean, have your work for you. That's what the focus of this is, and that's what I'm building towards. And with this eBay business, I'm looking long term. This ain't no, this isn't, uh, this isn't like a 5 year thing. I want to get in and get out and make my money. And no, no. This is something that I've had on the back burner, planning for years. You know, and planning is great and all, but actually doing actually matters. So like you need to have that goal, and like I have long tails that I really don't care if they take 5 years to sell. Uh, it'd be great if they kicked out the next day, but if they take 5 years to sell, and I only make $5 on them, whatever. That's $5. That's something that downstairs in the basement, I'm not too concerned about it. And if it takes 5 years to sell, it takes 5 years to sell. I'm set up storage wise for stuff to sit for several years. As I learn, as I jump up these stairs. This is long term. I want to be doing this for 15, 20 years. So like getting those steps. Now, I do want to change what I list over that time. I want to change from more low dollar, high, low dollar, high volume. I want to change from low dollar, high volume into high dollar, low volume. So like if I can sell more, if I can sell less things for more money and do less work, great. But that takes, in my case, that's going to take expensive equipment to get to that point, to get that, and maybe a couple other things to get to that point. But mainly it's the equipment. I need a good amount of capital to get the equipment, and part of that also is that equipment is a business expense. If I was I use a mechanic. I use a mechanic as an example. If I was a auto mechanic, which I would never do because I hate working on somebody else's stuff and being limited on what I can do. If you know it needs this and this and this, and they only tell you to fix this and this, I understand. There's a budget, there's an estimate, but you really need to fix this over here because it's going to become an issue real quick. I'm not allowed. And that would drive me nuts. It really would. And I mean, I'm sure I'd get over it, but I don't think I'd enjoy it as much as working on my own stuff, or maybe even something for somebody else on the side, just doing them a favor more than anything, and being able to do the entire thing. So like, anyway, getting off topic there. If I was a mechanic or a technician or whatever you want to call it, automotive related, working in a shop, they need tools. Okay, you need tools out the gate. You got to go to your school, then you need a ton of tools. Most of them out the gate finance those tools. So you're out the gate, you're like, let's just say 20. Let's say 20. No, yeah, let's go 10 grand out the gate in tools that you owe this guy, and you're gonna take it out of your check and you're gonna pay him that. So, or maybe you do stuff on the side and you're able to claim that as expense. You got to do your taxes, don't be cheating, but like do all that on the side, and you're able to claim all that on your taxes as a business, all that equipment as a business expense. Now, like I've never had an electric handheld impact, never. Like the portable ones, I've never had one. I'm probably gonna buy one in the winter as a business expense to tear apart vehicles for business. That's an example. I've never had a 2-post lift. That's on the list of things that I want. I've never had a Bobcat or heavy equipment. A Bobcat or like a skid steer. Never had one. Business expense. Now, I got to put money into the bank through the business to afford those things, to make those steps. But those are business expenses that I can claim that otherwise I'd have to buy that stuff personally. It's for the business, but if 98% of the time it's business use and 2% of the time I fire it up for something in my personal, or other way, 98% of the time it's business use and 2% of the time I use it for like personal, that's perfectly fine. And meanwhile, I have this 2-post lift that I'm using for personal 2% of the time that I would never be able to justify otherwise. I mean, how are you going to justify a 2-post lift that you only use maybe 3 times a year? I'm not. But if I'm using it for business use and it's out there being used 350 days out of the year, and I'm only using it a couple of days for personal use, that I can justify. So like, that's a benefit of having the business. I'm making that job work for me because to get that equipment, I can't justify going out and spending some stupid amount on personal use or having that bought before I started the business, and then I'm not able to actually claim it, or I got to defer it all or claim a portion of it. No. I want that full deduction. I want as much of that money as possible. Now, I do have trucks that I built before I started the business. I'm basically not claiming those. I'm claiming the maintenance on them, but a lot of that maintenance was done leading up to the business. Because I planned on the business, I didn't plan on, firing out the gate. And it really is because most of my stuff, the fair market value is less than what I actually have. I got that little T-Bird project. I'm selling a couple of the body panels off that right now. I paid $800 for the car. I'm keeping the drivetrain, which is the motor, the transmission, the frame, the tires, the axles. Anyway, what I'm keeping is coming up to $1,000. Even though I paid $800. So the fair market value is more than what I paid. I can't claim nothing. But if I wasn't using $1,000 of that fair market value, if I was only using, maybe I was only keeping the motor of that, then the rest of that I could claim. So I can claim, let's just say the motor's $200 in fair market value, okay? And I paid $800 for the car. I have $600. Mind you, you got to look everything up. But I would have $600 in the rest of the car that I could claim as fair market value and claim that. That motor only cost me $200. The rest of the car can get listed for a profit, mind you. And I'm able to claim that $600. But otherwise, personally, if I bought the car for $800 and I only used the motor, it cost me $800. Now, yeah, that's it. Because, yeah. So, like, that's an $800 motor. But if you use it as a business, that's a $200 motor out of my personal. So, like, you want to make your business work for you. That's why I've been planning this out. That's why I do got an end goal, but I am a couple years away from getting to that end goal. And that end goal is, like, right now, I'm I have realistic goals, and those realistic goals are $1,000 a month. I'd be happy if I made more than that, but that's my realistic goal. And at $1,000 a month, I can work at the schedule I want to work to and get the equipment that I need to get to move to the next step. Now, if I can make more than that, great. But like, that's my realistic goal. So like, per month, like this spring, I built a trailer. That's a business expense. That's going on my 25. That's a full business expense throughout the gate. So like that trailer was built to move product from auctions, to move more product using that trailer. I snatched a whole bunch of bikes. That trailer paid for itself. Just because I didn't have to rent anything, just because I was able to get those bikes that otherwise, motorcycles, that I wouldn't be able to get because I had that trailer. I had that trailer on site. No, it was a slow roll back, but everything worked out. And like, otherwise I wouldn't be able to get those bikes. You know, on the same note, I used that trailer at another auction. I had auction stuff on that trailer, but I also had a lawnmower. I bought auction stuff and personal stuff at that auction. I had 2 tickets, 2 receipts. But like, I also bought a snowblower. Both those things on that little camper trailer that I showed you, along with the business stuff that I bought from that auction. But like, that's a great example of, if I didn't have the trailer, I wouldn't be able to buy the lawnmower for personal use. Or I wouldn't be able to get it to the house without renting something first personally. So as I'm building this business, I know I'm going to be buying stupid expensive equipment to get there. And mind you, I'm buying it used. I'm not buying it out the gate. But like, I'm buying this equipment for the business that otherwise I'd have to buy personally. So I'm doing my main job 40 hours a week. It's heavily physical. Helps me stay healthy. It helps me live longer. That's why I'm doing that. That's why I'm a grunt, and I'm just a grunt. You know, if they tell me something to do this and this, and I don't want to do it, I'm a grunt. These are my limitations. Versus if I'm programming somewhere and the deadline's moved up, do this or you're fired, basically. You know, I've been in that position. I don't want, like, not the programming, but I've been in that position where it has to get done. And if it has to get done, I'm the type of person, I'll do it. But I don't want to sacrifice this because I'm doing this. Especially when I can make more money on the side than what I'm making here. It's the 40-hour, hope my bosses aren't watching, the 40 hours is not about the money. The 40 hours about all those other benefits. The physical, the shipping, the boxes. You'd be surprised the amount that boxes cost. And all the additional that I'm learning from that job. That's what the benefits of that job are. Paycheck's great. Paycheck's great. Honestly, I could be making a lot more doing something else. If I was only focused on money, I could be making a ton more. When I was driving semi, I was making about twice what I'm making at this place. But I was limited in what I could actually do on the side. I was putting off this business because I was making money doing that. Truck driving's great. You want to make money? If you're single and you don't want to have a house, and you basically want to live out of the truck for 5 years and make, let's say I don't even know what it is now. Let's say $65,000 to $80,000, and because you don't have the house, you don't have the rent, you don't even have the car payment. You don't have the car payment, you don't have the house, you don't have the insurance payment for the car, you don't have a lot of things that you don't need when you're basically running OTR and living out of the truck. You can stock money away like nobody's business if you're single. And you know, if you're half confident and half realistic and half controlled with how you drive and such, you become a truck driver tomorrow, making and sock away an easy 40 grand, just because you're not spending all the other stuff. But that's all you're able to do. You're not. Maybe you can do some little, what I'm doing here. Maybe you can like do videos and do this and that and make income on the side. But because of the regulations and everything else, you're severely limited. I can't be selling automotive parts while I'm truck driving. Just it ain't gonna work. There's no way to do it. And even if you were to work 12 hours driving truck, let's say you do sleep for 4 and throw an extra 5 here, that's not possible with regulations. You cannot do. I mean, you can do it, but you're not supposed to do it because you're supposed to be sleeping during those hours. At least half your time should go to sleeping. Otherwise, when you fall asleep at the wheel and maybe you take out 3 or 4 cars, never been in that accident, don't know how that goes, but like maybe you fall asleep at the wheel and take out 3 or 4 cars, there's going to be lawyers involved. They're going to find out, hey, he was doing this. He wasn't even there. He was up in the shop doing this. Not possible. So like you need to, which is why I no longer drive truck, which is why after 7 years I said, this has been great. I learned a lot. I socked away my cash, but I don't want this anymore. I want to move into this. I want to have this for the goal. This is what I plan on retiring. Like, this is my idea of retirement. I want to be doing this. I'm 45. 44. I'll be 45 this year. But like, I want to be doing this when I'm like 80. Cause like, and people are like, ain't you ever gonna retire? No. I'm not the type of person to retire. I tried it for 3 weeks. Okay? I tried it for 3 weeks. I did the trip. I went out. I did this. I did that. I did that. And I was miserable. Absolutely miserable. It took me all of 3 days out of that time to get over what I was over. And like, yeah, you know, when I was driving truck, I was exploring the United States, going here, you know, telling my person, can you send me here, you know, and like, if you got the weekend that you have a reset, a time reset, you can go here and do this and do that on the side through that company. So like, I've been in every state except for Alaska and Hawaii in the United States. And like, if they sent me to Alaska, I'd probably go to Alaska. It's obviously not. It doesn't make sense cost-wise. But if they threw it up there, I'd do that tomorrow. Just so that I could get up there, do a reset, you know, drive my butt off, get up there. Once I get to the thing, I do a reset, and I have a weekend in Alaska kind of deal to do whatever the heck I wanted. And then jump back in the truck and send me wherever they want me to go kind of deal to get back to where I was going. But like, there's a benefit of that. But like, there is limitations there. So you need to pick something, or I did anyway, where it benefits me more than this, just this. That's why I have this eBay business. It's because that's what I want to do when I'm 80 years old. As long as I can still move, I'm going to be working till I drop. People have different ideas of work. My idea of retirement is tearing apart a couple things, selling those parts, and having time to work on projects. That's my perfect retirement. Having a house where I can work on my projects without anybody saying anything, without any issues, without concerns about the county, without concerns about this, without concerns about that. Yeah. Long term, a lot of planning into getting there, but I'm there. If I want to work on my car, if I want to run an impact at 2 in the morning, run an air compressor, run an impact, 2 in the morning, crank the music up, I can do that. If I have a car sitting outside that hasn't moved, actually I got one right now, a little S10. I got an S10. Thing hasn't moved in like 2 years. I honestly don't know why I'm keeping it. The frame's good, but like what happened was the body rusted to the point where the cab, the floor, actually came back, and it rusted so bad that the thing came back and the harness grounded against the firewall. That's how bad the body was. But that thing was running down the road, it handled great and everything, so I'm keeping it for like a project. That thing has sat in my yard in one spot for years. If I lived in an HOA, or if I lived in even a town, they would come up and be like, here's an $80 fine, we need you to move this or else, and you don't have a choice. So like, I'm making that work for me. But that's my idea of retirement, is being able to work on these things while having something as a business. And I'll probably still work a part-time job somewhere. I'll flip from the main job being the 40-hour job to the eBay business being the 40-hour job. And instead of the eBay business only being a 5-hour job where it is today, I'll work as a part-time worker somewhere and have that. And have that on the side where that's just fun money. I almost said beer money, but I don't drink. But nothing against whatever. But like, you know, that's just fun money. But that's forcing you to get out of the house instead of another benefit. Forcing you to get out of the house. If I just had an eBay business and just worked out of the house and never had to, and had all my sourcing items coming to me and never had to talk with anybody for more than 20 minutes, this wouldn't get any better because it doesn't have to. That was part of the working out of the truck. I really didn't socialize with people. I'd work in the truck. I'd have my like 10 hours, and you know, you sit in the driver's lounge. For the most part, if you're a driver, you know, you really don't talk to each other much. You know, keep your head down, pretty much stay to yourself. Maybe you watch the video, maybe talk a little bit, but you know, like, you're not gonna see the person. The person's gone. The person might be 500 miles away tomorrow. So like, yeah, and like, it really hurt that interacting, that social. But I was making good money at the time. I was making good money at that. So everybody has sacrifices. But like, yeah. So you just gotta make it work for you. So like, even if I was able to go from 1,000 to 10,000, do this eBay business, if I started selling stuff worth $10,000 tomorrow, where I can make 10 grand a month selling this stuff, on a constant basis, tomorrow I can do that. So like, if I wanted to do that, and all that equipment was paid for and everything was already done out the gate, I wouldn't be doing I'd be socializing with anybody. So yeah, you got to build your thing. So like, even if I had 10 grand tomorrow a month in these businesses, I still would want to have a part-time job just so that I could socialize, just so that I had a schedule of some type. You know, why am I waking up at 7 o'clock when I don't have to? Why am I doing this when I don't have to? It's because you have a schedule. Why do I have a schedule? Because I told somebody I was going to do something, and I want to honor that commitment. if I didn't have the job, the 40-hour whatever job, and all the benefits that come with that, my schedule would be all over the place. I'd be doing this here, working these hours here. I'm actually supposed to be listening right now. But like, I would be moving that schedule up and down, left and right, and there wouldn't be a set schedule, and that would lead to less consistency. I had to think about that word. In that schedule. But like, it would lead to things being all over the place because I don't have a schedule. Having a schedule means I can stick to the schedule and do this in this block, this in this block, this in this block. I mean, I move a little bit of stuff around from time to time, but for the most part, it's on there. And I do it 7 days a week. I just flip what I do. When I'm not working here, I'm working on the business more during the weekends, and then I'm back to the normal 40. But like, it's all about consistency. All right, and having that job work for you, what your goals are. Sure, you got to make money, you know. But if you work at a job that you hate and it's not giving you the benefits that you need to do, I'm not saying quit. Don't quit, especially today. Don't quit. Start looking for something else. And for Christ's sakes, if you get that other job, don't hold back. Like, don't hold back on the other one. I mean, don't go out in a respectable way, but don't drag that out. You don't have to drag that out. You got this other job. Maybe you work the other job for a couple days before you quit the other one. Just dip your toes in the water, and maybe you find out this other job, I'm burning my toes. That water's hot as heck. You know, it's not the comfortable whatever temperature that I thought it was. It's gonna burn me. Jump back out of that. You still got the one job. You can work there while you're still working for the other one. But the main goal here is to have the job that works for you. You don't, if you're not getting benefits from the job you have besides just a paycheck, something's wrong. If you absolutely hate your job, absolutely hate what you do, and there's no additional benefit to that besides just money, you're doing something wrong. Now, there's also that money buys things. Maybe you need to support your family. Maybe that's the only job you're capable of having. Great. Do what you got to do. But also have goals in mind and how to get those goals. And if possible, my cheap butt, you know, if you're cheap like me, have somebody else pay to learn those lessons. Somebody else is paying you to learn something that you're going to use later, instead of you starting out and making those mistakes, they are mistakes, on your own and learning the lessons the hard way. Anyway, this has gone a lot longer than I wanted it to. But yeah, oh yeah, this is me. Full body in this one. And yeah, is what it is, folks. Yeah, thank you guys. And there's my alarm going off telling me I need to do something else. Thank you.